This joint budget building and grounds committee meeting Monday, June 15th, 2020 to order. I'm going to take a roll call for budget, then I'll let building and grounds chair call his roll. Got Commissioner Glover here, Commissioner Stubblefield here, Commissioner Wade absent, Commissioner Bowens absent. Mr. Bowens, yep. So we've got 3 present for budget. That's quorum.
All right, we'll call building and grounds roll. Commissioner Glover
Here.
Commissioner Moore
Here.
Commissioner Hogan
Here.
I'm here, and
Bowens.
Commissioner Bowens is absent, so that leaves 4 present, 1 absent.
Budget committee, we have our meeting minutes from our minutes of June 9th meeting. Is there any additions or subtractions to them? I've got a motion to approve as written. I've got a second by Commissioner Glover. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That's 3 ayes. All right. First thing on our agenda tonight is discuss budget amendment number 43 in the amount of $460,000 to purchase the Doctors Plaza building across the street from Roberts County office building. And I know the budget committee has voted to approve it, and I know building and grounds is going to need to. So I guess this is time for discussion and possibly a vote from building and grounds.
Has anybody else on building and grounds got any more questions about this, what we're doing as far as purchasing the building? Everybody knows we're $460,000, and everything's Keith's done well at ironing everything out on this. Do we need to go over what the what we have lined up as far as the year and everything on the lease?
Yeah, we can. We have got well, I can do it from memory, but it's $4,000 a month, and the drop dead date is December 31st, 2021. They may only be there for a year. They may be longer than that.
Trace. Stacy.
Thank you. I just had a caller. Joanne, can you identify yourself, please?
Stephanie Bradley.
Thank you, Stephanie. William and Erin, and I've got their last names, but they're not. She was a Bashir.
Yeah, she's my Bashir's daughter. She's a Cobb now. I know Erin.
Yes. And
But I don't know
William McMahon. It's actually in Tennessee Limited Liability Company is the name of the company.
Is it a 50-50 merger?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yes. But, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, I think we need to have a motion on the floor from this committee, because budget and grounds the budget committee's already done their business and they have approved it. And because of that action, as a member of building and grounds, I move that we accept this offer or make this offer to this and bring it forward committee.
Okay, what I was doing though, basically, I was just letting them explain what the
Okay,
lease was
okay.
and everything for the year, and then I figured we could vote
But
on it.
normally we need to have a budget, we need to have a motion on the floor and then we discuss.
Okay.
I'll second.
All right, so I got a motion from Commissioner Hogan and a second from Bill Moore.
So we're,
Discussion.
Discussion.
I'm taking it that $4,000 a month has come in our way. Is there somebody else in that building as well?
there is one more. I sent the mayor that information today.
They had 300 a month.
374 a month is what he's paying. Not certain that he's going to stay, but they think he is.
Does he have an ending date of December 31st, 2021?
He's going to have a drop dead date at the same time as well. Yes. Rich Shandell, the United Group, is who's in there.
Now their deal is with this, they rent it for a year, and anything that happens to that building for the year, is that correct?
That's correct, and that's for both tenants as well. That's for Rich as well. If he has plumbing issues, they fix it. Air conditioning issues, they fix it. We're not out anything.
I think everything's set out here in the last paragraph.
Okay. So will we, if it comes down and she don't want out, we'll be able to extend this? I mean, if she needs to go on further.
Yes, if we wanted to extend it, yes, we can.
Okay.
We want to keep her in Robertson County. Her plans are
Exactly.
to build in Robertson County and keep her business in Robertson County, and we want it here. So if she needs extra time, I hope we'll work with her.
More discussion?
Question.
Question being called. All right, everybody that's in favor of this, we'll do a roll. Mr. Glover,
Aye.
Mr. Moore,
Aye.
Mr. Hubbard,
Also.
and I'm a yay, and so it gives us 4. Mr. Bowens isn't present, so.
Okay, so that's basically the agreement to go to the county commission. Okay, so you all voted on that. There's a budget amendment that we did not vote on, yeah.
You need that budget amendment voted on.
I think budget should vote on both as well.
Okay.
Building and grounds doesn't need
So-
that budget amendment.
So budget committee's gonna need to vote on number 43 resolution, then also the resolution to authorize county mayor to execute a sale contract to purchase the approved property.
Yes, I think so.
Is this number 43?
The one that's blank here, and this one is on, behind the agenda.
Okay. This is 43.
No, 43 will be behind,
Yeah, I'm going.
okay, yeah.
That one right
Yeah, I
there.
see it.
There you go.
Another one's like this. Oh, we got this one right here. Yeah, I got that.
So I would entertain a motion to approve resolution number 43, or budget amendment number 43.
I saw moved.
I've got a motion by Commissioner Glover.
Second.
I've got a second by Commissioner Stubblefield. Any more discussion?
Just a question about the resolution itself.
Yes, sir.
The county commissioners is, maybe I'm looking at this wrong, 15th day of June, and then we have the same situation, the 20th day of July.
So they have to suspend the
Okay,
rules.
oh, it's 2 readings. Okay,
Yes,
I'm
we'll
sorry.
have to
Yeah,
read it.
I'm
It's
sorry.
against fund balance,
Yeah, I
so
know.
it's always gotta be 2 meetings.
I should know.
I know this is probably a moot point at this point, but has the lease that, the people that are renting from them, have y'all read the lease to make sure there's not any crazy little things in there that we missed?
We will before we enter into anything with them. We were told he's going month to month and there's no written lease,
Oh, okay.
but we will,
We've hit that problem before.
you're absolutely right, and we will, I'll get on that first thing, probably before this meeting's out when we're done. I'll send a text message to make sure there's no lease in place there.
Yeah, because this just gets us to where that we can move forward.
Yes, correct.
Well,
So I've got
somebody need to do a title, of course, there'd be a title search.
there's gonna be a title search done. Yeah, I was back and forth with Clyde a lot today on several issues, and that was one of them.
Yeah, that's gonna be split 50-50.
Ready to vote? Commissioner Stubblefield?
Yes.
Mr. Glover?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. 3 ayes, the ayes have it. And the next thing we need to vote on is the resolution to authorize the county mayor to execute a sale contract to purchase a certain improved real property, which is addressed at 514 South Brown Street.
So moved.
I've got a motion by Commissioner Stubblefield, got a second by Commissioner Glover. Any more questions or discussion?
Question.
Ready to vote? Commissioner Glover?
Aye.
Commissioner Stubblefield? Chair votes ayes. 3 ayes have it. That's all I have as far as on that agenda. There was something else we needed to discuss at that time. There's been some issues about the school's 1.2 million that we're voting on tonight, and I thought, well, if we got time, we'll discuss it in this meeting to kind of work some of the kinks out. I'll entertain any questions, and I believe, no, I don't see Dr. Causey on there, but if you got any questions for me, I'll try to answer them the best I can.
Well, I read the information that's in our packet, and I contacted our county engineer to see if he'd been involved in it, and his involvement has been that he was sent a email, which was kind of point is it that, I don't know, it's headed out,
The
but,
bullet point,
huh?
the bullet point, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that, you know, program from the superintendent about what the project amounted to. So that's all his involvement.
So he had-
To my understanding, he hadn't had any personal discussion with Dr. Causey about it, and he hadn't looked at Bransford.
So he hasn't been to look at Bransford, he hasn't taken any specs out there, he hadn't.
But he's, of course, he's part
Trey, would you mind speaking to that?
Hello?
Hey, Trey.
Hey, did y'all have a question for me? I couldn't quite hear everything that was being said.
Well, I guess, Commissioner Glover was stating that, you have really not been involved in this project at all?
No, a week or so ago, I was sent a email from Dr. Causey, and of course it had a PowerPoint projection in it, presentation, in it, and some summary of what the project was. It looks like they are getting new windows and some solid panels where windows were, as well as new HVAC in classrooms and kitchen in some areas. I did speak to him briefly by phone. He said that he had originally gotten a quote or a proposal or a bid from Trane, or the group that he has the energy contract with, and I think it was $1.6 million. And came in at slightly under 1.2. But I couldn't understand the details. He was going to have to purchase approximately $50,000 worth of controls on top of this to integrate with the Trane program that he has going. But I have not been out there and have not been involved in the process, and I don't really understand it all. One question I have is, how does it integrate with the overall energy program that he has with Trane? But Mr. Glover, Judge Glover is correct. My involvement has been limited, other than receiving the package and having about a 5-minute conversation with Dr. Causey.
Commissioner Hogan's got something to say.
I'm concerned because he said something about being 600,000, $1 million.
1.6
And it was $1 million, it's $90,000 different between the two.
between the two
bids.
bids, okay.
Between the two
So-
bids. I was not aware of the $50,000 of add-on switches and things like that. And I have also concern, being building ground, I saw just a commissioner, that why didn't we stay with Trane in the structure? And I apologize to a few of you I've spoken to about, I had a hard time finding, and you found it for me. I read that thing twice and read right over it.
It's
About-
buried on page 7. I mean, it really is buried.
And so I do apologize about that. But I'm concerned that we went from $1 million that was locked into that $15 million bond, and we had $14 million to go to Coopertown. And I've talked to Dr. Causey about that issue. He said, I don't know how much it's going to cost. I think some of you had the same thing. But it's already taken $1 million away from the Coopertown project, the Bransford project, and we need Bransford, and we need Coopertown. But the issue there is he's taken that much, and the wind has it, we're about $2.5 to $3 million short on the Coopertown project,
For the renovation.
on the renovation part. Now, these numbers keeps adding up, and so I don't want to sign a blank contract like we have in the past.
Well,
And it gets kind of crazy. like Walt Fogg
unfortunately,
did.
unfortunately, we did on this one.
Yeah.
And I take the blame on that. And I swore in that last meeting, I'll never allow it to happen again. But when your director of school stands up and says that it will be $15 million and that $1 million is going to this, then I took the man for his word. And unfortunately, his word was off on that. I don't think he intentionally misled anybody, but he was dead wrong on that one. And the county taxpayer is going to pay because of it.
He was still saying in March that the contract or the Coopertown would be finished within budget.
And I think he's thinking that, and he's gonna make cuts to the project, which we don't need to make cuts.
No.
Because if not, we'll be revisiting this down the road, trying to right these wrongs.
It's my understanding that I know of a member of the school board that doesn't know the final price. They're still looking for it. And the project got started delayed because, according to Dr. Causey, issues from the Clarksville group. Not blaming anybody.
Right.
And it could have been weather. But this project kind of got off to a slower start. And I'm concerned about that issue as well. So I don't want to be taken to the bank on this one.
No, I agree.
But I do not think they'll get it built for the 14 million for sure, now 15 million, and now we're gonna make up the difference. And I hope he didn't take the attitude of saying, hey, they're not gonna take away Bransford, so I'm gonna take money away from Bransford and we'll get that some other place.
I hope he didn't either.
I do, that's just not right. We need both projects to be done within a framework of what we set out to do.
I've got a bit of a problem when we've got a county engineer that we hire that has been involved it sounded like 5 minutes he's been involved in this project. And that's troublesome.
And it's not
That's
Trey's
fair.
fault.
That's not Trey's fault, no, sir.
That's the very reason we hired a county
Right.
engineer, because counties had some problems in years gone by with school projects.
I think maybe we just need to make it known to everybody that anytime something's done like that, our county engineer has to be involved with it.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Lou, this project got started with the fact that we had a project engineer or project manager from the company and the architects and the contracting group. And that Trey was just gonna be on the outside looking in. And he was late in the game because we hired him late to get it out there. But he is evidently, according to what he just said, he has a
Well,
lot to
and
say.
of course, the county engineer got involved and he made an assessment of the contract with the people out of, is it Florence, Alabama?
Mhm, right.
And, he critiqued it, and I thought he did a great job.
Mhm.
There just seemed to be several loopholes in that contract.
I think we'd be in worse shape right now had it not been for Trey doing what he did. And went through that contract, and he went through it line by line, item by item, and has really looked out for the county's interests.
Yeah.
So it would be nice if we had that same thing going on with Bransford, which we have not had.
I'll let go of that.
You need to hold up on voting for that tonight in the county commission meeting.
I think it would be sufficient. I think that would give Trey some time to get involved. Probably not the amount of time that he needs, but it would give him some time.
I don't know what kind of, deadline they're on as far as getting Bransford up and running, but I'm kind of concerned with the fact that Trey, he's our go-to person and he's not been there.
Correct.
And I think maybe we need to consider maybe holding up on a vote tonight.
I don't disagree with that sentiment.
That's what I'm doing.
I have some of the
Can I
slides.
ask a question? This is Commissioner Bradley.
You sure can.
Has he been asked by the school, or have we sent him? Have we put this task upon him? I mean, if he's not, I hate to demonize or villainize someone who's maybe not even been asked to be a part of this. And I don't think we need to neglect Bransford at all.
No.
I don't want to neglect Bransford either, but we hired a county engineer to look out for the county's best interest. And we've got a director of schools that hadn't even reached out to him to look at it, to look at the engineering design.
That's my question, because as a member of the education committee, I find this education committee extremely exhausting. We've had 2 meetings in the year and a half that I've been on this committee of a back and forth Q&A, and I'm incredibly frustrated. I mean, I have yet to see. I mean, until the packet came out, we had no knowledge of the budget. So I know I'm not the only one. I just want to go on record and say that.
Yeah, I've expressed my frustrations.
Yeah, and I think at a certain point that I tried to send a clear message when I said any resolution from the schools must go through the education committee. And I think I'm voting on something tonight, y'all probably, or will be voting on something tonight that did not come through y'all.
Didn't know anything about it until he presented it to the budget committee, or I didn't.
Yeah, we can run it through.
Hey, Keith.
I don't think.
Yeah.
That would be me also. I was completely unaware of anything going on.
Yeah.
Hey, Keith, this
We've
is
had
Stacy,
0 meetings about
Commissioner
any
Moore.
of this.
Hey, Stacy.
I think everything needs to be tabled, because my understanding, I got off the education committee because I have a family member as a board member, but everything in years past is supposed to be ran through the education committee. Those questions are supposed to be asked, and then if we have questions, the education committee can address those to the other commissioners. That's not being done.
Well, tonight is the night that you can send a clear message if that's what y'all wanna do.
Well, I'll see, I'm not on the education committee. Sorry.
Yeah, I
This-
don't know what
this-
the point is of having an
Tell
education
John
committee
now.
if they don't know what's going on. Maybe we go back.
I concur, Ms. Stubblefield. It's just beyond the pale, beyond reality after a year and a half, almost 2 years, to only have two back and forth. This is crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
Commissioner Hoover,
Yes,
this is Steve
Commissioner
Haley.
Haley. Yes, Commissioner Haley.
I believe that when we made the resolution to hire Trey, that Director Causey asked if he was going to be able to use him, and we encouraged him to do so. Am I not remembering that correctly?
Yes, sir, that is a true statement.
Well,
He was
half
interviewed.
his salary comes from the school system.
Yeah, half his salary coming from school, so.
When he
And
was,
we encouraged him to reach out and use Trey. Is that not true?
Yes, we did.
yes,
Okay.
we interviewed him. When he was interviewed, Dr. Causey was there, and it was said that he was gonna work with the schools.
Now, I want to
Also-
correct a statement. We are not collecting half of Trey's salary from the schools. At the time when we hired Trey, we took some pennies away from the
Right,
school, and we had some excess money, that we were able to bring him in that year.
right.
Well,
Okay.
that's correct. And I want to go on record as saying I'd like for Trey to look at everything that the schools are going to bring to us.
I agree. And,
I'd like
Commissioner Wade?
I'd just like to make a comment. At the meeting when I asked, and I said, sounds like we're fixing to get the same vote with Cooperstown we got in with Ridgetop, and he took offense to that. He told me real quick, he didn't agree that they had handled that problem. Well, 3 days later, I'm getting a call from Ridgetop, wanting to know what happened. All of a sudden, everybody's asking how to fix the problem. And I've got a meeting on Thursday night with Causey, Trey, somebody else from the schools department, and the city of Ridgetop to try to iron out why the water problems and sewer problems are still happening at Watauga, which I've already had an indication from Ridgetop, and their engineer, that there are things that were supposed to have been done at Watauga, never got done. Schools thought they had been done. Just some things that are
Mr.
coming
Chair.
out. This is the reason why we needed an engineer, and the engineer being part of it.
I agree, absolutely.
Somebody that's gonna walk through that job at the end and say, yeah,
And can sign off on it. Commissioner Hogan?
Mr. Chairman, on reference to the Education Committee, it was my impression the Education Committee was responsible as an information center for the county commission. If you go back and look at the Financial Act of 1981, school boards on their own, it's a separate entity. Our control is financing what they need. We can't tell them what color to paint the walls.
Right.
We can't tell them what books to read. We can't tell them how to run their business. That is left up to the Board of Education with the guidance or the approval of the school board. Whichever way is what. Dr. Causey will run the show, and the Board of Education, my wife included, they have one employee, and that's Dr. Causey. And so I think it's an information structure that they need to keep us informed. So if monies are mishandled or things like that, we're right on the beginning of that. Now, if I'm wrong, then we probably need to take a look at the definition of what that Education Committee's responsibility under the ruling of the Financial Act of 1981.
I agree. Are y'all meeting monthly or bi-monthly?
We were meeting bi-monthly. No,
We've never met bi-monthly. I'm sorry to interject. It took a year of me talking about why are we sitting through letting them do their pre-meeting before their meeting, before we even got one meeting, and then we met twice. We've not ever done ever.
Commissioner Bradley, if you'll let me finish what I started. We had been meeting
Certainly, sir.
We had been meeting bi-monthly, but I guess it was with the May meeting or
COVID.
Yeah, because of that, sent out one. We did not meet with them up until I guess in 19. 2019, we had been trying to meet monthly. And, yes, as for, the information. But I will say this, I came on the education committee with the previous director. It was handled that way with him. We did not get a whole lot of information out of him. Once a new director came on, it was the same thing. I have asked the director, told him that the education committee would like to be a conduit between the county commission and the director of schools and the school board. But, evidently I have failed to be able to get that accomplished.
Well, I have served on the education committee, but it was back when Dan Willow was here, and Steve Haley was on that committee as well. And we would meet in Dan's office with commissioners that wanted to be present, but it was the education committee and himself. And I think we got a lot accomplished that way. And I'm not certain we don't need to go back to some sort of format like that. And it needs to be monthly, because to stay informed, it's got to be monthly. There's too much going on out there bi-monthly to keep up with it all. So it's going to take a commitment from the committee members now to want to meet monthly, but, I think it needs to be done that way.
I think it does. I don't think all the questions need to be given to him before for him to give his answers.
Right, no.
But at the same time, I think we need to keep this thing, or just not to get on a personal level or whatever with that, but to ask things like this, because, like I say, I asked the question, I guess, in March about Coopertown, was it going to be on budget? And yes, but I think at that time, and I may be wrong, money was probably being, if not subtracted from, said, hey, it can come out of renovation because we don't know what we'll get to do with renovation, but that will be the shortfall there.
Do we need a motion to not vote on it, not to have that in tonight, or can we just vote?
I don't know if we can remove it from the package or if we can just table it at the.
It's already part of the agenda.
That's what I thought. So it'll have to be tabled tonight.
I think that's why you would have to.
So we have to table it on the floor.
On the floor.
From the floor.
Table and make a statement.
Yes.
So Commissioner Hoover, I got one more question.
Yes, sir, Commissioner Haley.
So if they're not bringing and this is just for my own clarity. So if the school board is not bringing their potential resolutions to the education committee, how are they getting on our agenda?
Coming through budget.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Any more discussion on this topic tonight? Yeah,
No, but Commissioner,
yes,
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I can't see y'all. I did have I don't know if this is the appropriate time. I went through the budget I picked up today and had just a couple of questions. Is this appropriate time to ask 2 or 3 questions about a couple of issues, or no?
Sure, we got time.
Yeah, so I saw that we reduced HATS funding from $48,000 to $5,000. I'm just curious why that is. I didn't know. I'm unaware.
We put a roof on there for them, and they agreed to do that. If we put the roof on, we would lower their funds.
Yes, sir, you're correct. I should have remembered that. And then there was another line item that there was going to be a $400,000 reduction in property tax foreseen, and I'm just curious what that was about too. It's on page. Let me find it. Hold on.
What was it?
I'm looking.
General property tax.
It's on page 21. Local property taxes. The very first, yes, ma'am.
Hi, Miss Stephanie, this is Jody. So you're talking at the top.
Yes, ma'am.
In column 3, it says that they're estimated to be 19,700,000, but it's only going to bring in 19,436,000. That's because the column 3 is estimated and we're collecting at 102% approximately. And we only put what's allowed by the penny. The penny, when you take the 172,000 and you multiply it with debt service, what general fund gets, you'll get the 1,436,000. So it's not.
Well, thank you for clarifying that. I just didn't know.
That's okay.
Good question. Thank you.
Good question. Thank you.
I got one thing for the building and grounds and everybody else. We discussed the TSC building. I was going to let you know that I've been in contact with Clyde. The TSC building does have to be declared surplus. We can put it out there without a minimum bid, and it has to go through the bid process. So he is working on
We
that.
can do it with minimum,
Without a minimum bid. So that's just a little FYI. I don't have anything else.
You have to sell it?
But we do not have, if we get a
We
bid, we
don't have to sell
sell.
it. No, if it does not bring what we think is justifiable, we can sit on it. So we
Mr.
can,
Mayor, what do you think about that?
I hope we get a good bid. I mean, that's, Clyde and me's talked about it, and I said, Clyde, we're not gonna accept anything that's not acceptable, and we just put it out there and see what happens. In fact, I kinda like, maybe, somebody said maybe we need to let one person make a bid, but if that person knows that there will be some more bids, maybe, they'll think about paying more for it.
Yes.
I agree.
This is the right way to do it. It's very transparent.
that's what we're gonna do.
I think, just a comment, I don't want to segregate anybody out and say, hey, this is what we're going to do,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. I think it needs to go out for our benefit,
Right.
without being
Yeah.
any kind of threats. Just everybody the same way. You're
Mhm.
treated the same way.
Right.
He'll know and she'll know
That's right.
exactly what's going on.
The
Exactly.
public's the best appraisal company you can hire.
That's the truth right there.
So I think that's a good thing. We put it out there, see if hey, we may get more than what we thought, so, but that's all I've got.
If there's no more questions, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Make motion.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? This meeting is adjourned.
I move the same.
Thank
way.
you all.